Hey there, so today is part two of our Saturday adventures, and this is where I will take you on the fundraiser yard sale. We hit a Goodwill, and it might be another couple just regular yard sales as well. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Okay, so we're heading into a Goodwill that I do not normally go into. It's actually been years probably since I've been in this one. I'm going to make my way over to the cookbooks, hoping to always find one of those ones that go for a lot of money. Maybe one day. Today is not the day. So I stop and look at the purses just to see if there is anything worth picking up. And this one looked like a Brighton. I actually didn't even get into the inside of it to see if it really was. It was kind of destroyed all over, so that was not going to be a pickup for sure. And here we are at the hard goods. I try to always make sure I'm checking the end caps because sometimes I do forget those. I thought this was a neat picture, but I did leave it there. I don't tend to dig into the frames. It's just not something that I get excited by, and they usually are just jam-packed in there so tightly that I'm afraid I'm just gonna knock them all over. And so I tend to avoid them unless they're on the end like that one. Okay, over to the trinkets. And then that gold and red piece there was like a religious picture on one side, and then a clock with flowers on the other, and a bright red elephant. And I didn't even see those little mice there on that shelf. I probably would have looked at those had I seen them. I'm always drawn to the crackle glass. I don't pick it up a lot. I do occasionally, but I just think it's so pretty. And then I'm looking at this, I don't know if that was like a sand art seal, sea lion sort of thing. It was a little in rough shape, so I didn't look any further. If this was in a different color, I'd pick it up. Clear glass is just so hard to sell. Oh, and that looks like a Noah's Ark accordion hand-painted thing, but the paint job was not that great, so he did stay there. That was like a little nativity tea light or something that just made in China. Now that amber gold vase, I probably should have looked at that. It may not have much value, but oh, I missed that little candy corn tea light too. That's so cute. And then this red velvet little jewelry box was kind of cute. It was a little dirty, so I just didn't really want to mess with trying to get it clean. All right, over to the wood section, which I typically do not find a lot in this section, but I always give it a once over quickly. I usually don't spend a lot of time in here. And then there was that Spode pitcher that I meant to look into later and failed. And then this is a Holy Bible wooden box, and it like basically fell apart with me trying to open it, so I didn't look any further. I don't know if those have value or not. I probably should look up, because it was just the box only. I could tell from the weight of it. And in the glasses, I don't find a whole lot in there usually either. Looking over at the plates, this Goodwill was not as organized as some, because there was like creamers and stuff here on the shelf as well, where mine would usually put those somewhere else. And so I was kind of looking, like you see the coffee pot right there. My Goodwill, the coffee pot would not normally be there. And I know that could be just somebody putting it back on the shelf wrong, but there was a lot of different items. I always take a quick glance at coffee cups just to see if there's something that stands out. And this one was cute. I probably could have picked it up, but I did leave it behind. Which I didn't show you. I did go through all these grab bags, and I did actually purchase 2, which I will show you at the end of the video. I was looking at those Starbucks mugs. My Goodwills in my local area here, they tend to mark those up quite a bit, so they're usually not worth picking up. Looking for any new old stock items, or like vintage office stuff can sometimes do well. Now, I did look a lot of that stuff up there, and none of it had any value, so it did stay behind as well. And then I was looking at this thing. I thought it was like a cookie press, but then it talked about paint, and then I was confused, and it looks like something from Temu. I just left it behind. And I always take a quick look at the electronics as well. You never know what you might find. I don't typically find a ton of electronics at Goodwill. They do tend to price those up as well. Always check out the calculators. Those were all like the TI-30X. Oh, this is the fundraiser sort of yard sale. They called it a yard sale, but I guess it was a yard sale. They did different booths, and everybody had a booth. So I looked at that little vase a moment ago, but there was some chipping, so I left it behind. Oh, there's the copper on wood one. That's what I should have looked a little bit closer into that one, I think. We had been out for quite a bit by this time, so towards the end of the day, my brain just does not function as well. And I don't spend as much time looking things up or researching as much as I should. Just trying to look at all the different purses and wallets. And then I do a second glance at this Betty Johnson, but it was missing several of those little flowers, so I just left it. And I am looking at a little creamer, which was cute, but I think it was a transfer and some of it was missing, so I left it behind. And I looked at this. I don't know why I left this behind. I probably could have picked it up. I'm sure there was some money left there to be made. I think I was just, I don't know. And my mom had that exact same angel welcome sign when I was a teenager. It might have been a different color. I don't know if she had burgundy, but I think she had green. This was adorable. If it had been completed, I would have picked it up, but it was not done. So I left it behind. I don't think it would have a lot of value partially done. But again, I did not research it. And that was a bag of like vintage matchbooks. I did pick those up. It was like 50 cents. I like having them around the house, or I think you can sell some of those even in lots. So I'll do one or the other. Now these napkin rings, she had some really neat ones, but they were priced up like $12 and $16 a set. And so there's just not enough room for me to resell them. If I use them for personal use, then that may not be a bad price, but I don't use them for personal use. So they did have to stay behind. And that cat was so cute. I didn't pick it up. I think he had a chip on him, so I think that's why I did not even pick him up to look at him and see what he was. Then I don't show picking this up, but there is a cat right there, the blue with some lace around the tail. I do pick him up. He was only 50 cents and he's dotted on the front. Very cute. I will remove the lace because it was dirty, but for 50 cents, I did pick him up. So I did pick that book up, that Curious Collector. It talked about Bakelite and stuff like that. And I do look at this Longaberger purse. However, the strap was really stained up, so it wouldn't have been worth it, even if it was at a good price. and they were selling a lot of longer burger and 31, and quite a bit of it was new, but it was also priced accordingly. There wasn't enough room for me as a reseller. And I'm trying not to bring any of that stuff into my home for personal use. I have plenty. I probably should have looked at that cast iron grill pan just to see what brand it was, but I didn't. And then I don't show it very well, but there's a little wood piece right there, which I thought was like a salt and pepper keeper, but it was stained, and so it stayed behind. And costume jewelry at this location, nothing really jumped out at me as worth picking up. Okay, and this table was basically like a reseller as well. They were buying, it looks like, pallets and then reselling them. So I just took a quick look. She had some shipping labels back there that I was just going to price out because I do use those, but it was the same price as me buying it on Amazon. And then this is a thrift store where they do the same thing. Kind of, I think she gets pallets and then she sells it in here. So a lot of clothing, stuff that I really, don't want to pick up, especially in this sort of situation, because I think it's a lot of like Dollar General, Target, and stuff like that, which won't typically have a ton of resale value. I was going to look at this book and then almost sent them all tumbling. And it was a mixture, like she had clothing, health and beauty items, which I think I show a little bit later, and then of course food items. Now the food items you have to be careful because some of them was expired, and so you always had to keep that in mind. We didn't pick up any food necessarily. We did pick up some gum, but none of it was expired. Okay, at this next yard sale, I don't pick anything up. I look at the pillow, but it was had a lot of stuff on it, and the wallet wasn't anything. And then, so that was it for the day. And then I'm going to show you the haul. Okay, I did get this plant for me. And then that towel's down there for our dog. I got this grab bag at Goodwill, which I will open that later and show you. And I got a second grab bag at Goodwill. Oops. Okay, then I got some vintage pencils, a wood frame, and then a metal heart frame. You did see the backpack. And then I did pick up this crystal cut glass Czechoslovakia bud vase for $5. And then let me go around to the other side. Okay, I'm pretty sure you saw this at the yard sale. Then I got 3 of these like brass ornaments. They were 50 cents each. There's the other one. I got 2 Monster High dolls, 50 cents each. I got this vintage wooden cat, and then a bag of vintage matches. And then I got this bag of free books. They're like a crafting mystery book, so I may read them and then sell them. Okay, so here's from the grab bags. And sorry if you can hear my washer in the background. This was the one bag. So both of these bags were $4.99 each. So this bag is this section. So we got this Made in Greece Mythology Faces cup. We got this wood carved bird who's missing its stand, but we can probably make one for that because I definitely don't want to just throw him away. And then this brass cruet. It's got some definite age to it, some patina and stuff like that. And then we got that little vase there. We got, this is the kiwi bird from New Zealand, and it is marked NZ on the bottom. And then this stuff, I'm not, oh, and then let me show you this guy back here. Another carved wood piece. And it is marked on the bottom, but part of the stamp is missing, so I'll have to do a little more research on that one. We got the Asian inspired little vase, this figure. This stuff over here I kind of just lotted. I don't think it's gonna have any value. Like, that is broken. The piece thing is kind of demolished, and so they just didn't, they're not gonna be worth anything. Okay, and then this is just a figure, but it's like a touristy piece, so it may not have any value either. And then this set says welcome, so I don't know. Oh, I didn't look at the bottom of this plate. Let me look. Yeah, not marked. So I have a feeling that may not be much either. Okay, we'll move this over. Okay, and then in this next bag, we have this super cute cat dispenser, which honestly, I may just keep. We'll see. This handmade nativity set, which is kind of why I picked it up, because I was like, oh, that's cute. And then we have these, this is the not any value, probably just redonate these items here. And then this one, it does say Puerto Rico, which, you know, sometimes the touristy things don't sell very well, but it is made in Peru, and it's pretty. Let me set it down. It's just a neat little trinket box, so I will probably still list it. And then I got some ribbon. So that is it from the grab bags. So that finishes up our day. Again, if you saw something I missed, let me know in the comments below. If this is content that interests you, if you'd hit that like and subscribe button, I really would appreciate it. And thank you so much again for watching. Have a great day. Until next time.